Press play at your own risk. Discover the sinister secrets that haunt the sleepless 7 nights. Emma's world was a tight-knit mess of comforting chaos, but that night, oh, that night would unravel everything she thought she knew. She was just a 32-year-old mother, an overworked night shift nurse in Pine Hollow, a suburb where illusion wore the mask of peace. Her 2 children, Lucas and Molly, always full of life, turned into shadows overnight. It began with the tape. Rummaging through her grandmother's forgotten belongings, Emma felt a pull toward that dusty cassette labeled, "Sleep Soundly." Her curiosity was a spark, igniting a dangerous flame. Was it a sign from the past? She pressed play, the whirring sound slicing through the stillness of her home like a knife. Whispers spiraled into the air, warm and inviting. It was a lullaby that promised tranquility. As sleepy voices enveloped her, she felt the night's weight lift, if only for a moment, but the whispers didn't stop. They crept back into her life, transforming familiar scents into something sinister. Days later, Lucas tossed and turned, eyes wide open with hidden fears. Molly woke sobbing, her once innocent giggles replaced by shivers and tears. "Mommy," the whispers, she trembled, and Emma clutched her child tight, heart racing. The laughter that once rang through their home faded into silence, thickening the air like a fog. The tension in the neighborhood was palpable. Neighbors who once smiled now exchanged sidelong glances, their faces shifting into masks of dread. Anxiety curled around Emma like a vine, tightening with every eerie night. Something wasn't right. The comforting hum of the fridge felt wrong, too, every subtle sound echoing with a sense of foreboding. The laughter of children was replaced by something colder. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The horror escalated the day Emma spotted the flyer at the market, a warning written in frantic scrawls: "Families missing, connected by that cursed tape." The gut-wrenching realization hit her like a punch. She was tied together with those vanished souls, entwined by a mythic melody that laced through Pine Hollow. Chilled whispers of a restless spirit became more than coffee shop gossip. Panic seeped through her, paralyzing her thoughts. Racing thoughts fueled her. She rushed to the police, but their indifference felt like a cruel twist. Only her search for the truth fueled her desperation. Each heartbeat screamed for answers, knowing time was slipping through her fingers. Drawing closer to her childhood memories, she finally faced the truth unraveling in Pine Hollow, a community enshrouded in darkness, led by a figure wrapped in whispers. As night fell, shadows stretched across her living room, the tape's whispers morphing into sinister laughter from her children, who cowered in fear, their eyes wide with dread, staring down the looming dread. Emma understood one thing: time was running out. The tape had woven its spell not only across her home but deep into the heart of her community. The walls trembled with impending chaos, and the chilling realness of impending peril struck her cold. Could she face the deeper darkness hidden behind the facade, or was she already too late? As despair clawed at her resolve, she stood paralyzed, knowing the whispers grew louder with each passing second, the sinister truth still just beyond her grasp. Her pulse drummed in her ears, drowning out the frantic whispers. Emma's gaze darted around the living room, shadows leaping from one corner to the next as if mocking her growing panic. The cursed tape still lay on the floor, an innocent object transformed into an instrument of terror. She swallowed hard, pushing the horror away. She had to act. Heart racing, she reached for her phone, desperate to find anything that could help her piece together the fragmented stories of missing families. She scoured through social media, frantically searching for posts related to the tape. Hours passed, and her children's whimpers grew louder, each sound gnawed at her sanity. She finally stumbled upon an old forum titled "Voices from the Past." Users shared their experiences, some horrifying, others chillingly dispassionate. One post stood out: You won't just hear the whispers, you'll feel them. They keep coming until they take what they want. The photo attached was grainy, but it showed a familiar street and neighborhood so like her own. Emma felt bile rise in her throat. She needed to dig deeper. Emma's hands trembled as she pulled up the number for a local historian named Mr. Crispin, rumored to possess knowledge of Pine Hollow's darkest secrets. With the phone pressed tightly to her ear, she could almost hear the whispers curling at her back like needy tendrils. Crispin's residence, came an elderly voice, gruff yet strangely calm. "Hi, Mr. Crispin, it's Emma." "Ah, yes." "The mother with the tape," he interrupted, and Emma felt a chill run through her. "You shouldn't have pressed play." "Too late for that. What can you tell me?" "I need to know what's happening to my children." "Everyone feels it," he replied, almost too coolly. "It's the past trying to reclaim what was lost. The whispers draw you deeper. You can't trust what they say." Just then, a sharp cry pulled Emma's attention away. Lucas had wandered from his room whilst grasping the remnants of childhood innocence, a teddy bear now cradled in trembling hands. His eyes glazed, reflecting the ominous shadows as whispers echoed around him. "Mommy, they want to play," he murmured, his expression vacant. "Lucas. No. You can't." She flung herself toward him, but he staggered back, a chilling grin spreading across his face. It was unnatural. Not her son at all. She felt dizzy, the world around her blurring together as memories and nightmares fused. Panic surged as Lucas swayed, and Emma gripped her phone tighter. Another desperate call. "You don't understand. It's taking my children." "Embrace the whispers, or fight them," Crispin said softly, and there was a resolution in his voice that froze her in place. "But beware. If you fight, it will not end well for those you cherish." As she turned back to her son, fear clawed at her throat. Each second felt like a lifetime. Shadows shifted. The laughter lurked, waiting for her to make a choice, but she was not just a mother, she was a fighter. The darkness would not swallow her children without a fight. With renewed determination, she stomped forward, blocking the whispers with her will. "Let him go!" she yelled, feeling a warmth build inside her, a light against the encroaching dark. For a moment, the twisted smile faltered on Lucas's face, confusion flickering. But the shadows retaliated, coiling around her like a vice. The tape crackled to life again, voices swirling in a deafening crescendo, drowning out her thoughts. Suddenly, silence descended. In the thick tension, a new sound pierced through, a child's voice, unmistakably familiar but layered beneath a strange tone. Molly stood in the doorway, eyes wide, holding a shard of the tape, a piece of the curse. "Mommy, I want to play." Emma's heart sank as she understood. The game was far from over. What would she do now? Would her desperate actions save them, or would they all be lost to the darkness? Time was ticking down, and the game was just beginning. Molly's voice hung in the air like a death knell, her small frame silhouetted against the shadows creeping into the room. A shard of the tape glimmered ominously in her hand, a remnant that pulsed with cold energy. Emma felt a chill sweep through her, a feeling that clawed at her insides. "Molly, drop that!" she shouted, her voice tinged with desperation. The girl's expression remained disturbingly blank, as if a piece of her had already been taken. But Mommy, they want to play with us," Molly insisted, stepping forward, a slow, deliberate movement that felt wrong. "Get away from her!" Emma screamed, lunging toward Molly, but the air around her thickened, wrapping her in an unseen shroud. The ground trembled as if it were alive, rebelling against her every move. Fear twisted deep in her stomach, urging her to act while she still could. As she struggled against the oppressive weight, the whispers returned, louder, more insistent, swirling around her with a frantic cadence. Emma's visions flashed through her mind, images of her children's laughter, bedtime stories, sun-kissed days at the park. But now, they felt tainted, disrupted by a dissonant echo. Through the cacophony, a new voice lilted sweetly, "Join us, Emma, we are waiting." Shaking her head violently, she tried to drown it out, focusing on the sight of her children. She had to break their trance. Molly, please. Listen to me. For a moment, Molly swayed, confusion flickering through her eyes. Emma seized that window. She could see the version of her daughter beneath the darkened surface flickering, hopeful. Remember the stories I told you? The brave princess who fought dragons. Emma pressed, her heart racing. You're my princess, Molly. You can fight back. Molly's grip on the tape trembled, the shard reflecting light in desperate pulses. But they're my friends, she whispered, the words tousling like leaves in a storm. The shadows aligned, morphing into shapes, whispers shaping into laughter, a cruel chorus surrounding them. They will teach you the fun, no. Emma cried out, willing raw strength into her voice. You have to fight. They're lying. They want to take you. Molly blinked rapidly, her little hands shaking as the shard quivered dangerously. The shadows hissed, angry at her resistance, darting closer, eager to reclaim their prey. Embrace the game, the voices slithered back, wrapping around them like ropes. The edges of the room blurred, and a sickening darkness threatened to close in. With a surge of adrenaline, Emma raced toward her daughter, covering the gap between them in a heartbeat. She snatched the shard from Molly's fingers, clutching it tight, a weapon against the encroaching terror. As she turned, an agonizing scream erupted, one not of her own or her children, but from the tape itself. It crackled violently, sending bursts of shadow flying in every direction. What have you done? An unseen presence sneered, the room pulsating with an ominous energy. We have to go. Now. Emma shouted, her voice breaking through the disarray. She grabbed Lucas with one arm and yanked Molly to her side. The whispers rose into a manic pitch, desperate to cling to their claim. Run! She yelled, racing towards the door. But the darkness fought back, reaching for them, clawing, hungry. The exit loomed, but so did the shadows, spiraling tightly around her. Just before they burst through the threshold, a voice settled as an icy whisper directly in her ear. You can't escape the game, it will find you. Emma hesitated for a split second, fear twisting in her gut. The door swung open and they stumbled outside into the night, but an oppressive weight lingered over them, safe for now, but not free. The air was charged, every breath a reminder of the game that followed them, relentless and hungry. What do we do now, Mommy? Molly's frail voice trembled beside her. Emma held her children close, fighting the shadow of despair blooming in her heart. I don't know yet, but we'll fight, we have to. As they regained their footing, Emma felt the weight of eyes watching from the darkness. The game was far from over, and the real dangers were just beginning to unfold. Unseen forces stirred in the night, a sinister promise lingering as they cast their fateful eyes on the scattered remnants of a family trying to reclaim their lives, what lurked in the silence waiting, wanting. Emma's heart clenched. Her instincts screamed that the worst was yet to come. The chill in the air felt like a warning, a pulse of dread that surrounded them as they stumbled into the open night. Shadows danced around their feet, flickering as if alive with malevolent intent. Emma clutched her children tightly, searching the darkness for any sign of movement. Molly, Lucas, stay close, she whispered, the raw urgency making her voice tremble. The street was eerily still, with only the faint rustle of leaves and the distant hum of traffic. But something about the quiet felt wrong, stretched thin like a taut wire ready to snap. Each heartbeat echoed in Emma's ears, a reminder that danger still lurked. We can't just stand here, Lucas said, his small voice barely breaking the silence. Where are we even supposed to go? Emma glanced around, wild-eyed, searching for options. Home felt like a trap now, but the unknown was a gaping maw, ready to swallow them whole. All around her, she could feel the weight of unseen eyes watching, waiting. A flicker of movement caught her attention, a dark figure darting among the trees lining the street. Her breath hitched. Molly, hold my hand, she instructed, crouching down to her children's level. We're going to take a small step toward the park, it's open and maybe we can. Mommy, look. Molly pointed, her voice a sharp whisper. Emma turned slowly, her heart racing as she followed her daughter's gaze. There, hanging from one of the branches, was the taped shard the one Molly had held. It swung gently as if beckoning to them, soft light glimmering off its surface, enticing and forbidding all at once. "Let us go back," Lucas pleaded, his eyes wide with fear. "I don't like it here." But Emma felt an unsettling pull toward the shard, a dark curiosity flaring in her chest. "No," she murmured more to herself than to her children. "We have to confront it. We can't let it control us." Just as she took a step forward, the shadows lunged, spilling out of their hiding places like black ink. They coiled around them, tendrils reaching out, seeking to pull them back into the darkness. Molly whimpered, clutching Lucas's hand tightly. "Don't fight." A voice hissed from the depths of the shadows. "Join us, it will be fun." Emma felt as though ice had settled in her veins. "You're lying," she bellowed, her voice shaking with anger. "You don't care about them." The darkness shrieked with laughter, a cacophony that twisted Emma's stomach. She clutched the shard tightly, its cold surface grounding her. "We have to break their hold," she yelled. "Molly. Lucas. Focus on me." Their eyes flared with her passion, and she could see the gleam of the shard reflecting the flicker of hope within them. "Think of the park, the swings, the sun on your face," Emma urged, pouring every bit of strength into her words. "We're a family. We're stronger than them." The shadows thrashed angrily, thrumming with energy as if they could sense the shift. Emma could feel the tension strengthen, the atmosphere crackling as if something was about to break. She saw fear in Lucas's eyes turn to defiance, and Molly's grip on her hand tightened. "Let us fight back, Mommy," Molly shouted, her small face alight with newfound courage. The shadows roared, the sound reverberating around them. Emma felt the pulse of energy in her hands, the shard vibrating as if it wanted to unleash its power. "Together," Emma commanded. "On the count of 3, we push forward. 1, 2, 3. They surged into the darkness as one. The cries of laughter morphed into screams of rage. Emma's senses exploded, shadows recoiling, the ground beneath her trembling as they pressed on. But then, as they broke through the thick veil, a new figure emerged from the depths, a silhouette cloaked in darkness, eyes glowing with a predatory glint. Emma skidded to a halt, heart racing. "Molly," she breathed, dread washing over her. "What is that?" "Mommy. It's not just a game anymore," Molly whimpered, stepping back. The game had changed, and with it came a nightmare beyond their darkest fears. With the new threat looming before them, Emma felt the chilling certainty that the game had only just begun. What sacrifices would they have to make to survive the night? The silhouette moved. It was slow, deliberate, as if savoring their fear. Emma's heart thundered in her chest, she felt frozen under its piercing gaze. The figure distorted the air around it, black mist curling in and out like smoke, obscuring its shape. It stepped closer. "Mommy," Lucas whimpered, shrinking behind Emma. Molly's grip tightened, nails digging into Emma's palm. The shadows writhed, pulling back just enough to let the creature step into the dim light, revealing features that twisted from familiar to monstrous. It wore a mask of darkness, eyes burning with an otherworldly glow. "Where are you going, little ones?" it crooned. The voice was a seductive whisper, wrapping around them like a cold, slimy blanket. "The fun has only just begun. Come play with me." "No," Emma shouted, surprising herself with the ferocity. "Stay away from us." But doubts flickered in her mind. What if there was no escape? What if they were already too deep? The shadows pulsed with encouragement, their voices intertwining, swirling like a sinister lullaby. Join us, Molly's breath came in short bursts beside her, and Lucas's knees trembled slightly. "Look at me," Emma shouted, trying to ground herself to control the spiraling panic around them. "Look into my eyes. We have each other. We fight together." The figure leaned closer, and Emma felt the heat radiating from its glow. "Isn't she pretty?" it asked, almost mockingly. "She knows how much you want to be free. It's so easy. Just let go, my dear, just let go." But Molly shook her head violently, tears forming in her eyes. "I want to go home." A flicker of hope ignited in Emma's chest. "That's right, sweetheart. We're going home. We'll find the way." The shadows screeched, feeling the shift. They surged forward, darkness flooding into the space, hungry for submission. Emma tightened her grip on the shard, the cold surface biting into her palm. "Not today!" she roared, pushing against the shadows, channeling the love she had for her children. "We aren't afraid of you." The figure reeled back slightly, its wicked smile wavering. "You think strength comes from love?" it growled, dark laughter spilling from its mouth, echoing through the night. "You underestimate the power of despair." Emma felt the ground beneath her shake, a ripple of energy surged, and suddenly the shadows faltered. She could almost see a path forming ahead, faint and shimmering, leading away from the nightmare. "Run!" Emma urged, her voice slicing through the thick air. She turned, pulling Molly and Lucas with her. They sprinted toward the flicker of light, moving as one, hearts pounding in unison, but the figure wasn't done yet. Suddenly, darkness erupted around them, swarming and coiling like snakes. The laughter twisted into a spine-chilling howl, tearing at the fabric of their reality. "Where do you think you're going?" it hissed, and shadowy tendrils lunged for them, snapping and crackling like electricity. Emma clenched her teeth, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Don't look back. Just keep moving." They darted down the path, something ancient and sinister trailing closely behind. With every step, the world around them shifted, morphing into a twisted landscape that threatened to engulf them whole. "Mommy!" Lucas cried, fear slicing through the resolve she had mustered. "Just keep going." Emma shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. Ahead, the lights flickered. Was it safety, or another trick? She couldn't tell, but she had to trust it. They had to break free, or be lost in this game forever. But then, a piercing scream erupted from behind them, echoing through the night like a death knell. What had they unleashed? As they reached the edge of the path, a terrifying realization hit her. Whatever they were running from, it was gaining speed, a relentless predator, hungry for their souls. "Keep running," Emma urged, pushing the children forward as the darkness lunged once more. Would they reach the light before it consumed them? Or would they join the screams of the lost? The night was still young, and the game had only begun to play out its horror. The light flickered ahead, shifting like a mirage. Emma urged the kids on, fear clawing at the back of her mind. Was it a way out, or a trap? She couldn't afford to think. Not now. The shadows were closing in fast, tendrils grasping at her heels like frantic fingers. "Faster! We can't let it catch us," she panted, her voice strained. Mommy!" Lucas sobbed, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Hold on. Just a little bit longer." Emma shouted, pushing herself to sprint harder, her legs screaming with effort. Sweat dripped down her brow, the humidity of fear thick in the air. The children were with her, but the darkness was relentless, hungry. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown, pressuring her forward. With each step, the ground beneath them shifted, warped images of their memories swirling in a sickening dance. The laughter of the creature echoed all around, taunting them, promising sweet release if only they gave in. "Do you hear it?" Molly whimpered, glancing back for just a moment. "It sounds like the playground, the party." "No." Emma snapped, pulling Molly forward with a burst of energy. "Don't listen. It's a trick. We have to concentrate." The flickering light loomed closer, illuminating their destination, a crumbling archway silhouetted against the oppressive night. It seemed to pulse gently, offering warmth against the encroaching cold. Was this truly their escape? Or was it just another illusion woven by the creature? Emma's heart raced. In desperation, she made a decision. "We're going through," she yelled, her confidence bolstered by the very presence of her children. But before they could reach it, the shadows surged once more, faster than Emma anticipated. A chilling wind swept through the corridor, nearly knocking them off their feet. "Mommy!" Lucas cried out, his small frame nearly lost among the writhing dark. "No. Stay with me." Emma pulled him closer, adrenaline propelling her onward. The archway was so close, she could almost reach out and touch it. With a final push, the kids surged forward alongside her and they barreled through the archway, stumbling into a new space filled with an unearthly glow. It was brighter here, too bright, bathing them in an eerie light that offered little comfort. As they caught their breath, panting with exhaustion, a sudden chill washed over them. The laughter was gone. The only sound was the distant echoes of their own breathing filled with uncertainty. What is this place?" Molly murmured, wide-eyed. Emma scanned the area. The ground was a mosaic of dark and pale tiles, swirling patterns spiraling inward to a central point. Shadows danced just beyond, peeking from out of sight. "Maybe it's safe," Lucas suggested, but fear laced his voice. "No, it's not. We can't stay here," Emma insisted, her gaze darting around. "If we made it in here, it means there's a way out." Suddenly, that laughter returned, echoed by familiar voices from the past, dragging memories out of hiding. "Join us, stay with us," they promised happiness, normality. But Emma knew. It was a facade, a false sanctuary meant to bait them back into the dark. "Don't listen. It's trying to confuse us," Emma screamed, gritting her teeth. "We need to find the way out, now. Don't you dare look back, not for anything." But as they turned to search for an exit, the laughter grew louder. What if this place was another of the creature's tricks? Was there a way out after all? As they searched, images of their lives before the darkness began to crowd their minds, shadows flickering in the corners of the room, morphing into forms they almost recognized. What if they couldn't escape the grasp of those memories? Then, out of the corner of her eye, Emma noticed something lurking, the figure coiling at the edge of the light. "Quick! This way!" Emma yelled, pulling her children towards a shimmering archway at the far end of the room. But the laughter erupted around them, the shadows creeping closer again. The night was far from over, and the stakes had just gotten impossibly high. Would they survive the next wave? The chilling realization began to settle. They were being hunted. What if the predator was actually waiting for them on the other side? "Run!" Emma urged, tightening her grip on Molly and Lucas as they sprinted toward the unknown. They had to find the truth and confront what lay ahead, but as the chilling laughter echoed again, a new realization washed over her. Were they racing toward salvation, or deeper into the dark? Emma and the kids dove through the shimmering archway, driven by primal fear, their hearts pounding as they crossed the threshold into the unknown. The air turned frigid, sharper than the blades of ice that stung at her skin. Emma caught her breath, bracing herself against the sudden cold. The moment they stumbled into this new space, the harsh laughter faded, but the lingering whispers remained, slithering into their ears like smoke. "Where are we?" Molly trembled, clutching Lucas' arm as if he were a lifeline. The dimness loomed heavily around them, stretching shadows like fingers trying to reach for warmth. "Not sure, but stay close," Emma replied, scanning their surroundings. They stood in a large, dim-lit room filled with empty chairs and dust-covered tables. The walls thrummed with an unseen energy, echoing like a heartbeat in the distance. An old projector stood on a rickety stand, casting flickering images against the far wall. The images danced, children at play, birthday parties, laughter ringing out in joyful crescendos, only to dissolve suddenly into scenes of chaos and tears. Emma's stomach twisted. "Mommy! I want to go home!" Lucas cried, his small voice cracking with despair. Her heart shattered a little more. "I know, baby. I know. We'll find a way," Emma said, forcing strength into her words. A creaking sound echoed behind them, and Emma's blood ran cold. The shadows behind the chairs warped, twisting into shapes that did not belong. She turned to see the figure again, more defined now. No longer just a shapeless darkness, it sported hollow eyes, vacant yet studiously focused on her. "Leave now," it hissed, its voice a chilling wind that crawled under her skin. Panic surged through her instinctively, she pulled the children closer. "Emma!" Molly squeaked, pointing. "Look at the door." A heavy iron door stood ajar at the far corner of the room, a dim light flickering beyond the threshold. For a moment, that light seemed to promise safety. "Stay behind me," Emma said. They sprinted, shadows trailing like wraiths behind them. Just as they reached the door, the laughter returned, louder this time, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. "Join us. Stay with us," the voices danced, tantalizingly inviting. Images of their lives flickered through Emma's mind, moments that made her heart ache: family dinners, bedtime stories, warmth. "No!" Emma shouted, pushing the door open with all her strength. "We won't be trapped again." They rushed through, but the threshold had teeth. A vicious pull tugged at their feet as shadows clawed at their backs, desperately trying to drag them back into the room. "No. Hold on." Emma grunted, feeling the weight of the darkness as it pulled at her resolve. The children screamed, fighting against invisible chains as Emma fought to keep them moving forward. "Go. Push through." If this was a trap, they were going to break it. The door swung wide, revealing another corridor, this one draped in drab gray, the air thick with mildew and unreconciled dread. Just as they stepped inside, a deafening crash resonated from behind them. The heavy iron door slammed shut, the echoes reverberating through the walls. What was that? Lucas whimpered, eyes wide and glimmering with tears. "I don't know, but we can't stop," Emma panted, adrenaline surging in her veins. As they crept deeper into the corridor, the lights above flickered like they were on the brink of failure. Suddenly, she noticed something scrawled on the wall, catching her breath. "Turn back. Escape is a lie." "What does that mean?" Molly whispered, clutching Lucas tightly. "I don't know," Emma murmured, an icy knot forming in her stomach. The feeling of being watched tightened around them, and a low hum filled the air, vibrating dread. Suddenly, they heard it, a slow, deliberate pacing, growing closer. Each footstep thudded like a heartbeat, a reminder they weren't alone. "Emma!" Lucas quavered, shaking in her grip, and before she could respond, figures emerged from the shadows, eyes gleaming with malicious delight. The children's faces paled, terror creeping into every breath. "Welcome to the show," one hissed, and a wave of dread washed over Emma. They were caught in a web. The chase was far from over, it was just beginning. "What do we do now?" she thought desperately, as the shadows closed in. The laughter roared back to life, a terrifying echo shattering the silence, and Emma realized they might not all make it out alive. What if the true horror lay closer than they dared to believe? The shadows loomed, closing in around them like a hungry beast, and Emma could barely breathe. She felt the icy claw of dread creeping up her spine. "Run!" she yelled, the urgency echoing in her own mind, pushing them forward. The corridor stretched endlessly, walls looming as if they were being swallowed whole. Each step reverberated with the hushed whisper of their pursuers, the dull thud of feet echoing like a sinister heartbeat behind them. She dared not look back, fear gripping her heart like a vice. Molly and Lucas, always close, shuffled along, their small legs struggling to keep pace. Emma could feel their fear radiating in waves. "Stay with me," she called back, desperation spilling from her throat. She needed them together, needed to shield them from whatever darkness hunted them. As they hurried deeper into the gray corridor, a new sound punctured the thick silence, soft, mocking laughter. It swirled around them, intangible and frantic, like a chorus of restless souls. "Come play with us," it coaxed, laced with an unsettling sweetness, each whisper seducing them to stop. "Not now," Emma shouted, her voice cracking. They pressed on, every ounce of her being focused on keeping them moving until she stumbled upon a door at the far end that it was antique, framed in tarnished silver and painted a sickly green, dripping with age. A dim light seeped from underneath, casting grotesque shadows that flickered like dying flames. Emma's heart hammered against her ribcage as she reached for the handle. "We can't stay here," she said, gripping it tightly, but as she turned the handle, it jolted, stopping her. She could sense it, a pull from inside, as if something alive awaited their entrance. "Emma, please," Lucas whimpered, and her heart shattered anew. She glanced at their faces, wide-eyed and trembling, reflecting the flickering light. There was no more time. With a force that matched her fear, she flung the door open and they stumbled into the room. Inside, an endless darkness invited them. The chilling air wrapped around them like a heavy cloak. Before her, a massive screen flickered to life. The room belonged to a projection of dipping colors and jagged images, streaking across the surface like blood in water. Scenes of laughter and festivity cascaded, but those were quickly followed by images of despair, a forgotten playground, crumbling swings swaying in the wind, children screaming, their faces distorted by terror. In an instant, the laughter turned to cries. The once joyous voices morphed into echoing howls, vibrating through her bones. Emma staggered back, shielding the children with her body. The walls began to pulse, as if alive, feeding off the torment displayed upon the screen. "What is happening?" Molly cried, her knuckles white where she clutched Lucas. Before Emma could respond, the whispers returned, rising above the screams, a cacophony of every lost child. Join us," they chanted, inviting and horrifying. "No!" Emma shouted, but the atmosphere thickened, curling around her throat like a noose. The ceiling seemed to warp, pressing down as the screen flared, brimming with faces red, shadowy, desperate. The shadows in the room solidified, warping into monstrous shapes, eyes shimmering with wicked delight. They began to sway and twist, elongating towards Emma and her children, hungry for their fear, ready to engulf them in the void. "Run!" Emma commanded, her own fear now ignited into raw instinct. They began to back away, stumbling toward the door, but something crashed against the wall behind them. One of the figures had lunged, slamming into their sanctuary with a devastating force. "Don't look back!" Emma shouted even as the door threateningly creaked on its hinges. Shadows gushed and like ink poured over paper, ready to swallow everything in darkness. Just when they thought there was no escape, the room shifted. The ground trembled beneath their feet, cracks startling through the floor, sending shivers of terror through Emma's frame. They were caught in a maelstrom of flickering colors, screams mixing with laughter as the walls split wide open, widening the abyss that threatened to consume them. "What do we do?" Molly screamed, panic lacing her voice. With their breath quickening, a chilling realization washed over Emma. The terror wasn't just closing in, it was morphing into something else, something more terrifying, the true nature of whatever awaited them in the unknown. She looked ahead, the split in the darkness splitting wider. There lay an escape route, but it held just as many secrets. "Let us go now!" Emma shouted, taking a deep breath as they felt the pull of the shadows rush towards them. As they sprinted toward the light ahead, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the escape may be the very trap that would seal their fate. Would stepping into that light bring salvation or doom? Light engulfed them, burning bright but cold, and Emma felt the moment stretch, a thin thread between hope and horror. She dashed forward, pulling Molly and Lucas with her, but as they crossed the threshold, the sensation shifted. The brightness gave way to a cacophony of sound, the air thickened with an unshakable dread. It wasn't relief she felt, it was a menacing stillness. They landed in a barren room, walls draped in a grey mist that clung to their skin like damp shrouds. Emma's heart raced. Is this safe?" she breathed, glancing around, hunting for the shadows that had nearly consumed them. "Where are we?" Molly whispered, her small voice trembling. Lucas clutched her hand tighter, his eyes darting about like he was expecting something to pounce. Emma tried to sound calm, though every instinct screamed for vigilance. "Let south, just stay close," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But inside, a different voice flickered, gnawing at her mind. What if this place was worse? The walls stretched, warping with unsettling angles, as if breathing, inhaling their fear. Emma felt something lurk just beyond her vision, a sensation of eyes watching unblinking, hungry. With every beat of silence that followed, dread surged and gripped her heart tighter. Then, without warning, a rustle echoed from the far corner. Emma turned sharply, holding her breath, anticipating a figure, a ghastly form emerging from the shadows. But nothing came. "It's just the building settling," she murmured, trying to convince herself more than her frightened children. A chill brushed by as if a spectral hand had caressed her cheek, and the whispers returned, now more insistent, echoing through the room. "Play with us forever." The laugh that accompanied felt like ice slicing through her veins, sending her instincts into overdrive. "What do they want?" Lucas cried, his voice breaking as he pressed against Emma's leg. "They want us to join them," Emma replied, fighting against the rising panic. "But we won tea." The screen before them flickered again, waking to life with torrid images. It showed flashes of past horrors. Dozens of children, their faces contorted in agony, as shadows danced upon them like specters. Bruised playgrounds, sinister laughter, and crimson handle grips stained with darker memories blinded them into silence. "No, this can't be happening." Emma felt as though reality was crumbling around her, the walls pulsating to the rhythm of their own despair. They were all trapped in a nightmare, and every second they stayed only fed the evil at bay. "Emma, look!" Molly pointed frantically, and Emma's heart sank. A doorway appeared at the far end of the room, shrouded in darkness, swirling with the remnants of fog and shadow. It beckoned them with a promise of escape, yet her gut twisted in rebellion. "Should we go?" Lucas whimpered, unable to hide the terror in his voice. "We have to," Emma resolved, steeling herself. They couldn't remain in this hellish place where fear feasted on their souls. As they moved, the floor cracked beneath their feet, thundering ominously. Emma glanced back, shadows clawed at their heels, reaching hungrily, almost calling for them to turn. "No. Not now." She urged the children on, pushing them forward, the doorway looming larger with every terrified breath. Just when she thought they would slip through safely, a shadow lunged directly in their path, grasping for an arm, an ankle, anything it could seize. "Faster!" Emma screamed, adrenaline tearing through her. They dodged left, avoiding the dark void, and for a fleeting moment, she thought they might make it. But the shadows seemed to seethe, undulating in sharp, desperate movements, hungry for their life force. The doorway trembled, calling them home to some hidden truth as the specters screeched in unison. "Join us! Go, go, go!" Emma fired herself forward, thrusting her body into the darkness, pulling the children along. But as they stepped through, a cold hand gripped Emma's throat from behind. Chilling laughter echoed, deafening, mocking, and cruel. "Who said you could leave?" Everything went black. What waited for them in that darkness? Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. The world was engulfed in a suffocating blackness, a terrible silence wrapping around Emma like a shroud. Every breath felt heavy, as if the air were infused with the weight of despair. She felt a cold grip around her throat, an unseen force pressing down, making it difficult to think. Panic threatened to engulf her, but she couldn't let it. "Not now. Mommy." Lucas's voice pierced through the darkness, a beacon of fear that pulled her back from the edge of despair. "I'm here, baby." Emma gasped, trying to find them, her heart racing. The shadows might have dispersed, but their presence lingered, taunting her with whispers that floated through the dark. "Join us, be one of us, no." Emma screamed, shaking her head violently, pushing against the anxiety. "Stay with me." She felt for her children in the thick obscurity, reaching out, fingers trembling, heart pounding like a war drum. "Where are we?" Molly's soft whimper echoed, heavy with fear and confusion. The complete absence of light made Emma's pulse race faster. "We'll find a way out, I promise." She forced her voice to be steady, reassuring, though inside she felt the looming realization of their dire situation. With a sharp inhale, Emma focused hard on her surroundings. Her fear fueled a flicker of determination. She had faced too much to back down now. As her eyes adjusted, she caught a hint of something, a dim glow in the distance, barely illuminating the contours of a path. "Look! This way!" she shouted, leading them toward the flickering light, the shadows shrinking back in protest. As they carefully moved, each step felt heavier, a magnet to the despair that loomed nearby. The darkness lunged toward them, grasping and screaming in injustice, but Emma kept a steady grip on her children's hands. "Don't look back. Just follow me. Mommy!" Lucas cried, his fear palpable, but Emma clenched his hand tighter. "We'll get through this. Together." The light began to pulse as they approached, brightening, then dimming, an erratic heartbeat enticing yet foreboding. Emma felt her heart race as they reached the threshold of brightness. "On 3, we jump. 1, 2, 3. They lunged forward just as a final shadow darted, claws reaching, but they burst through into a new space. A gasp tore from Emma's lips as she stumbled into a vast, sunlit meadow, bursting with color and warmth. Birds chirped, the sound overwhelming and strange, a realm where laughter danced on the breeze. The sensations were intoxicating, the vibrant hues, the gentle rustle of the leaves, but something in her gut twisted with suspicion. "Mommy, we made it!" Molly exclaimed, her eyes wide in awe. "Is it safe?" Lucas looked around, his small heart still pounding. Emma scanned the area, light cascading like a waterfall, almost too perfect. The shadows had retreated, but her pulse quickened. "Stay close." Then she heard a soft laugh, clear and inviting. She turned, only to find a figure standing in the distance, shrouded in light, hair flowing like silk. The creature was beautiful, yet Emma's instincts screamed danger. "Welcome, dear children." The figure beckoned, voice sweet like honey. "You're safe here, away from the whispers." Emma's maternal instincts rippled like thunder. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "Don't listen to it." The memories poured back, lost laughter, haunting echoes of children, images twisted together with despair. "We need to go back. We have to find a way out." Such negativity. The figure cooed, taking a step forward. "We can play here forever. You want to stay, don't you?" "No." Emma shouted, fierce in her resolve. "We're not going to stay. We will not be trapped again." The creature's smile faltered, revealing edges sharper than light, twisting into something more sinister. "But you're already lost, dear ones, run." Emma grasped Lucas and Molly's hands, pulling them toward a thicket of trees lining the meadow. They raced through the foliage, hearts thundering, leaves rustling behind them. The beautiful facade fell away, revealing an ominous expanse, and she could almost feel the darkness reaching again, seeking to reclaim its prize. "Mommy!" Lucas shouted as the laughter faded to a distant echo, pursuing them through the flurry of leaves and sunlight. "It's okay, baby. Keep running." Emma urged, desperate determination propelling them forward. But as they moved deeper into the trees, another voice whispered through the branches, softer, more seductive than anything before. "You can't escape the game, it follows you." "No," Emma breathed, feeling the frayed pieces of her resolve rally against her heart. They burst through the tree line into another space, and Emma gasped. It was a playground. Colors bright and inviting, yet all wrong somehow, like a cruel mirage showing them what they might have had. "Don't stop," was all she could say as the familiar laughter echoed, a mocking chorus that seemed to blend with her children's own frightened giggles. She felt the warm touch of nostalgia twisting into something much darker, something longing to claim them. Before she could protest, Molly slipped her hand free and began to walk toward the swings. "Mommy, look! It's so fun!" "Molly! No!" Emma screamed, heart racing. "Get away from there!" But it was too late. Shadows began to coil around her daughter, pulling her toward the rusted metal. "Join us," the darkness hummed, swirling and twisting as if it were alive. "Don't you dare!" Emma cried out. With a rush of adrenaline, she lunged forward, grabbing Molly, pulling her to her chest. But darkness surged, angry and unforgiving. "Leave her alone!" Emma shouted, her voice raw. She could feel the shadows pushing against them, clawing, angry that their game was faltering. It was time to fight for her children, not just for freedom but for their very souls. "Listen to me," she begged, both her children looking up at her with fear and confusion. "We cannot give in. We are a family. We fight together. We escape together." The shadows grew angry but faltered, as if uncertainty disrupted their hold. Emma's fear cracked open a path of steely resolve. "Together!" Emma shouted again, the fire sparking in her heart as she clutched her children tightly. "On the count of 3. 1. 2. 3. They pushed forward, bolting from the playground, embracing the warmth of the sun illuminating the shadows, and the game of darkness began to tremble. With a desperate leap, they surged into the light as the shadows recoiled, screeching with fury, their hold shattered by the pure determination of love. They tumbled through a thicket of light, breaking away from the last remnants of despair. When Emma opened her eyes, they found themselves back in their living room, the warmth of home enveloped them like a blanket. The tape lay silently on the floor, innocent now, as the whispers dissipated. Gasping for breath, Emma clutched her children tightly, feeling the steady heartbeat of reality settling back into place. "We're safe," she whispered, holding them close, heart swelling with relief. But in the depths of her mind, a nagging question burned. The darkness had called out before them, but had they truly escaped? And then, as they settled into their embrace, the whispers began again, silk-soft yet insistent, "Join us, it will never truly end." Emma's heart clattered, knowing she would never give up. They were free, and now, the fight continued. But would they find peace, or would the game reclaim them? Only time would reveal the answer. The story isn't over. If you need to know what happens next, you need to subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button immediately so you don't miss the next terrifying installment. And smash that like button now. It feeds the algorithm and helps us spread these chilling tales. Flood the comments with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about the ending. I want to hear from you, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You know they love it. Let us keep the wild ride going.